Today's show is sponsored by Convene 23 of the Convene communities. We are ready to grow your business in 2023 using the Convene platform. So join me and my fellow co-creators, community leaders on February 17th to the 19th in Winston-Salem. For more information, go to convenecommunities.com/convene-23. If you're ready to grow your business, this is the conference that you don't want to miss. I'm excited here on Talk to Me today because my guest is none other than the amazing Monica Tanner. She is a CEO and a relationship coach. Monica is all about the secrets of happily ever after. She helps married couples ditch resentment and roommate syndrome by improving their communication, connection, and commitment so they can get busy writing their own unique happily ever after love story. Monica has made it her goal to lower the divorce rate and raise their level of marital satisfaction. She encourages her students and clients to prioritize their most important relationships, their marriage. Monica uses her podcast, Secrets of Happily Ever After, and her various challenges, programs, and private coaching to help thousands of couples resolve conflict, collaborate, and rewrite their stories. Her passion is to have her clients exemplify for their children and grandchildren a blueprint for a healthy, thriving, and life-giving marriage relationship. Welcome to Talk to Me. I'm your host, Brenda Warren, the Solutionist, and today it is Face It Friday, and I'm ready to face all the things I need to know about love and marriage and creating my own happy ever after. So I'm about to welcome Monica to the show. Hi, Monica.
Hello, Brenda. This is so fun.
I'm so excited and glad you're here with me today. You know, when I heard about what you do, I was very intrigued because we're in fabulous February. It is the month of love, and love is in the air. And so, what you do is really intriguing to me because I hope to one day actually have my own happily ever after. But until then, I need people like you to give me all the facts so that I can face it. And just so you know, Monica, on Fridays, we do what I call Face It Friday. That's where we face those things that maybe we're having some challenges with, at least that I'm having a challenge with. And then we bring it to the audience so they too can find solutions to what it is that's plaguing them. So today, we're going to be talking about none other than the secrets of happily ever after. Because as you know, Monica, so many people are failing to have a happy ever after. So before we start into how they can get that, tell me what that made you decide to start your company, The Secrets of Happily Ever After, and work with people to lower the divorce rates.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. First of all, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. And I absolutely love the premise of Face It Fridays because a lot of people just kind of, they leave their marriage for last. And that's one of the biggest, things that that's one of the biggest roadblocks. So I'm
Mhm.
glad that we're going to face this today. I'm super excited. And yes, to tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up in, just a nuclear family, and I used to love all the Disney movies and fairy tales and romantic comedies. I used to twirl around the house like Belle and flip my hair like Ariel, right? And then when I was 12 years old, my parents announced to my brother and I that they were getting a divorce. And I was like, wait, what?
Well,
This is not how the story is supposed to end. And from that time on, I just became obsessed with what makes a marriage strong and lasting because I did not want that to happen to me. So I used to study my friends' parents' marriages, and I was always looking for what did my parents miss? Like, where did they go wrong here? And then I went to college and I studied relationships. I was a sociology major. And I felt like I really, knew all the things. And then when I met my Prince Charming, I was a little bit skeptical because I hadn't seen a lot of examples of really happy, thriving marriages. I mean, there were
mhm.
people that were married, but were they happy? I don't know. So I was a little skeptical, but I was like, I'm doing it. I'm going to prove it. We're going to go. And so I married my Prince Charming. Everything was perfect. We started a business together. We started our little family. We built a house. We had all the things that, would from the outside show that we were this perfect little happy couple, right? But on the
Mhm.
inside, I was crumbling. By the time I had my third child, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I just wasn't cut out for this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was having so much trouble, being the perfect wife and the perfect mom and the perfect business owner and all the things that make this perfect little life. And so I kind of had my own identity crisis, my own, I had this debilitating anxiety, and I had to go and like
Mhm.
face it Friday, all of my biggest fears. I had to figure out, like, I'm stopping myself from living this happily ever after love story that I always imagined for myself. And what do I need to do to become the girl that, can have all the things that I've ever wanted? And so, my parents are both therapists. I did a lot of self-reflection. I figured out a lot of things. And once I really started to face those fears, I decided I want to help other people do the same, because I do see there's a lot of people out there that are calling it quits, that are living in miserable marriages, that are just not having that beautiful life. And a lot of times it's about facing it. It's about facing our fears. It's about facing the stories that we grew up believing.
Mhm.
And it's about taking that power back and really writing our own unique love story and happily ever after. So that's what I help people do. It's my biggest honor, and I just absolutely love it.
And that's good. And as a person that's been married 3 times and divorced 3 times, I do have a question. And here's my first one:
Let's go.
the benefits of marrying the right person. I want you to discuss with us, why is marrying the right person important? What are the benefits of marrying the right person?
Yeah, so that is a great question. And I'm going to preface this with, being the right person is
Ooh, I like
just
that.
as
I like that.
important as marrying the right person, because a lot of times we self-sabotage our own happiness by not facing those fears, by not being able to confront our limitations, by, trying, like I was for so many years, trying to be so perfect. And then we don't allow ourselves to really just embrace that good and happiness that's all around us. So that's a big, I'm a big fan of Gay Hendricks and The Big Leap, where he
Mhm.
talks about, we have these thermostats, and, we're comfortable with a certain thing. And so, if our parents are divorced, or, we only feel comfortable with a certain level, we have to make that big leap. We have to understand that we can write our own love story no matter where we came from, no matter what, society tells us or anything like that. We do have that power. So that's the first thing I would say is, you've got to become the right person. You've got to be willing to face your own limitations. You've got to be willing to be vulnerable. You've got to be willing to commit yourself to that consistent growth and learning, that I'm sure you've learned a lot in those 3 marriages about yourself, right? So,
I absolutely have learned a lot about myself, and I'm still learning.
yeah,
And
that's
that's the best part, is that learning that happiness is an inside job, and it really does start with me, because I can't expect my partner to make me happy when I'm not even happy with myself.
Oh, bingo. I love that you said that, because I think that's one of the biggest lessons that people who come to me, it's the very first module, in fact, in my program, is I teach that you have to be responsible for your own happiness, right? That's, I think, one of the biggest misconceptions we get with the rom-coms and the, happily ever after fairy tales and things like that. It's that I'm going to find the person that's going to complete me and make me happy and give me all the things that I've always wanted. And so we have this really crazy idea when we get married that I've now found the person that's going to make me happy, or some that I am now responsible for this other person's happiness. And that is the biggest stumbling block I see with other couples. It's like, when we try to manage somebody else's happiness,
Yeah.
or we give away our power, saying you have the power to make me happy or sad or whatever, we're really limiting ourselves. So yes, when we understand that happiness is an inside job, just like you said, then we have all the power, right? It means that we can be happy no matter what circumstances we're in. And that is like pivotal. Like, we can't control our circumstances, but we can always control our experiences within those circumstances.
And unfortunately, in our society, we grow up, at least I grew up believing in Prince Charming, and the thing is that they make everything perfect, and there was nothing that was taught to me even prior to my third divorce that said that the other person wasn't responsible for my happiness. I am so glad that I've met people like you, and I have my therapist and my coaches that are teaching me how to be happy, whole, and healthy all within myself, so that when I do find that partner that I would want to spend my life with, that I am a whole person that is responsible for their own happiness and their own well-being, and not expect them to do the heavy lifting for me because I didn't do the work. Well, now I have. That's why I'm so glad to have you here on the show today, talking about this very important subject about how we are going to create a sweet life. Our topic today was success driven, creating the sweet life. And I think so many people are looking outside of themselves for happiness that won't be found even with not in another person, but with another person, until they get clear on their own core values and their own thoughts about love and loving themselves.
I love that so much. And what I love the most about it is a really great. So here's the. I have this little side project that I do, and I love to interview couples that have been married for 50 years or longer. I've had the honor to interview tons of couples who have been happily married. I mean, they've had their ups and downs, obviously, but they can say after at least 5 decades together that they're still happy. And a common theme that I see in all of that is that they choose each other. So
Mhm.
they have had the opportunity to grow and become and really develop into who they were meant to be. They have this beautiful support system. So I'm about to quote this famous, amazing man who talks about marriage. And but they choose each other
Yes.
despite the other person's limitations. So the thing about marriage is it you really get to see all of the limitations, weaknesses, truths about another person. I mean, nobody sees you like your spouse really sees you. And
Yeah.
so it's like you're choosing to be with this person who's imperfect, and they're choosing to be with you, who is also an imperfect human just looking to become, right? And so we talk about how marriage is one of the biggest drivers of success. And I'm sorry, this light is on my face, it's driving me nuts. One of the biggest indicators of your success is who you marry. And so I love to take this quote by Warren Buffett, who's like the third richest man on the planet, right? And he
Mhm.
talks so much about the importance of marrying the right person and how that really affects your trajectory in life. Your success in life is who you marry. And there's been lots of research done by universities like Carnegie Mellon and things like that that really talk about the influence of who you marry on your success and your happiness.
Well, that brings me right to my next question. So that was a perfect person to quote. Your spouse has a great impact on your financial success. I've always believed that, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how does your spouse have such a great impact on your financial success? So, there is studies that show that married men make up to 30% more than their single counterparts. And the reason why this is because when you have that support from your significant other, so many things happen. So, I have a really great friend who is a very, very, very successful entrepreneur. And I've had the honor of interviewing him and his wife and he'll say, um, uh, you can only be his quotes, this is Russell Brunson. He says all the time, you can only be as successful as your spouse will allow you to be. And people are like, wait, what? No, I can be successful on my own, blah, blah, blah.
No.
But the example that he shares is early in his business when he was consistently failing, falling flat on his face. He started something like 200 different businesses before he finally landed on, the winner, right? And
Mm-hmm.
all throughout that time, his wife was super supportive. She just loved him for exactly who he was. And she didn't care if he brought home, thousands of dollars or whatever. She was just having fun because she loved him. And then there was a day where he made $1 million in 90
Yeah.
minutes, right? And he's like so excited. He's like, I've done it. He comes home. He's like, I made $1 million in 90 minutes. And she was like, that's fantastic. Can you just take out the garbage? Right. So having a supportive spouse at home
Yeah.
means that they're not going to define you by your success, and they're not going to let you define yourself by your success. And so that's the beauty of having the right or a good supportive spouse behind you. Not only that, but it opens up your creativity, your ability to take risks, because it's like, you know what? I'm going to go really hard at this. And I know at the end of the day, I'm going to come home to this loving, supportive spouse who could care less whether I totally failed or I made $1 million in 90 minutes, right? So it really opens up your ability to think clearly, to think outside of the box, to be creative, to take risks. Those are some of the main reasons why happily married individuals make more money than their single counterparts. But not only that, you're also healthier mentally, emotionally, and physically when you have a really supportive spouse there who's cheering you on, who's loving you no matter what. Right now, I'm reading a book by Jay Shetty. He's super, super successful, right? But he talks about how gratefully he is that he met his wife when he had nothing, right? He's like,
Right.
he loved me when I had nothing. So I never have to worry that, like, whatever level of success I reach is the reason why I'm important to her.
Right.
So
That is important to have a spouse like that. And we're going to break right here for a commercial break. My friend Donovan West is running for city council at large in Philadelphia, PA. Go Eagles. If you want to support Donovan by making a cash donation, please go to his website, www.donovanforphilly.com. He is a man on a mission. He is listened to lead, and he is ready to make an impact. And don't forget to root for the Eagles. If you're a fan of another team, I don't want to hear about it. Also, we're sponsored by the 52-week Ideal Journal. Unleash your creative potential. My buddy, my pal, my accountability coach, and results coach herself, Miss Lisa DeShorm, has written this amazing journal that you will want to get. She wants you to imagine, dream, and explore and act. That's ideal. In this 52-week Ideal Journal, you can unleash your creative potential. You know, Monica, I'm so excited to get to have the rest of our time to really talk about what I think is the most important question that I'm going to have for you today. And that is, how do you ensure a higher level of marital satisfaction? Because you're the expert in this area. And so many people are just going through the motions nowadays. And especially with the pandemic, we have people that are showing up, but they're not showing up fully authentically themselves. I hear it all the time. People are complaining. And I'm saying, you made a choice to make this person your life partner. Why are you not enjoying the journey? Can you speak to that?
Oh, I love this. I love this so much. Yeah, I mean, how can we ensure marital success? And the answer is very simple. It will surprise you. But here's where most people get it wrong, because they think, okay, we got married, I kind of locked this person in, and now we're just good to go. Now, right? We just uh move forward, right? We just do the thing. And I've got this person who's just always going to be there. But that could not be farther from the truth, because you get married and you have this like beautiful ideal that it's us against the world, right? We can take on anything. This person, vowed to love me forever, for better, for worse, right? And so we like take that at face value. And what we do is we start to neglect our relationship. We start
Oh
to
yeah.
neglect the other person because life comes at you fast. All of a sudden, we're driven with our careers, with our businesses, with our kids, with our hobbies, with our distractions. All the things get in the way of our most important relationship. So my answer, how do we ensure the success of our marriage and thereby be more successful financially and in life and in all the places, it's to invest in our marriage relationship first. And I can talk all day about how to do this, but my top 3 ways I would say to invest in your relationship before it's too late
Mhm.
is to decide. Don't take this person for granted just because they live in your house and they vowed to love you and all of that. Number one is just to decide, hey, listen, my relationship with myself obviously is very important. If you believe in a higher power like God, if you're religious, then obviously that relationship is very important. But after those 2 things, your marriage is absolutely 100% the most important relationship in your life. After that comes your children, and after that, your friends and extended family, and then every other relationship after that. Now, people and understand this at a very surface level, because if I were to go through and check their calendars and how they're spending all their time,
Absolutely.
those statistics would tell a very different story. I mean, how often does your spouse get a spot on your calendar, right?
Mhm.
That's where you put the really important appointments, the things that you're not willing to miss, your dentist appointments, your client, things like this interview. It's very prominent in my appointment book, right?
Mhm.
But is my spouse in there? So the number one thing I would tell you for prioritizing your marriage, so this is number 2, right? So number 1 is deciding.
I
Like,
wrote that
I've
down.
decided that I'm going to invest time, energy, and financial resources in my marriage because it's that important to me.
Okay.
And then once you decide, here's how we do it. Number 1, daily connections. Well, this is number 2, I guess.
Mhm.
Daily connections.
Okay.
So here's the thing. We have every human on the planet, we have 1,440 minutes in a day. And the amazing thing about time is that it doesn't matter how powerful or influential or how much you can bench or how many people you know or how much money you make. We all get the same exact amount of time. You can't fudge that. Nobody gets to do that. And so I recommend that couples spend 20 minutes out of the 1,440 that we all get
Okay.
connecting emotionally with their partner. I call this daily connection. So you're going to be asking each other questions like, what are you excited about? What are you learning? What's causing you stress? Is there anything I can do to make your life easier for you? You're asking these questions to get to know their inner world. So this is not like who needs to get picked up, who needs to get
Mhm.
taken where, what are we doing for dinner?
Yeah.
Those conversations happen naturally, but they also can happen at a different time. It's committing to spending 20 minutes getting to know your partner's inner world. Because even if you're spending 24 hours a day together, you're still experiencing life in a very different way. And so if you will always be implementing that curiosity, that getting to know what makes my partner tick, what gets them excited, what are they thinking about on a daily basis, you will never run out of things to talk about. You will always be growing, you'll always be learning, you'll always be building that fondness and admiration for each other. That is the foundation of a beautiful friendship that will keep you together. So 20-minute daily connections. And you're going to follow up that emotional intimacy building with some form of physical connection. So I always say like a peck or a nice long hug, a shoulder rub, just holding each other's hands and looking to each other's eyes and just saying like, hey, I see you. We're on the same team and I love spending this time with you. So that's daily connections. And then my third suggestion for ensuring that you're going to be successful at this is, again, we all have 168 hours in a week. And I suggest I make all of my clients commit to spending 3 of those
Mhm.
168 hours with date night. So I call these weekly non-negotiable date nights. And I suggest that you do something fun together, that you make memories, that you try something new, that you do not talk about the kids, you do not talk about the business or the finances or anything else stressful going on, that you guard that time, that you put those cell phones on silent and give each other your undivided attention, and that you do things that create memories, that bond you together, that get you excited to be with your partner. So that's weekly non-negotiable date nights. And to help with that, I have this date night journal. So in here, there's lots of ideas for date nights. There's a date night bucket list, and then there's 52 weeks of date night where each of the pages, all it is what did you do on date night? What did you learn about your partner? And what do you never want to forget about this date? Super, super simple. But guess what happens when you do this religiously every single week? You're actually documenting your love story. So I love to, have people do this. And here's the thing, I really like numbers. So if you're spending 20 minutes a day getting to know your partner's inner world and 3 hours a week making these awesome memories and connections with each other, that's less than 3% of your time, but you're investing in that relationship. Those types of things should go in your daily planner. And you should commit that your partner is important enough for you to set aside that time every day and every week to connect with them. And I don't know how racy you want me to get, but I also suggest that after date night, you make sure to have some sort of sexual intimacy. That way, you're ensuring that those date nights are bonding you together emotionally, physically, and sexually. So, those are like my top three, you know, ensure that your marriage is going to work. And then, obviously you've got to continue to learn about yourself and each other and conflict resolution and all those things. But there's people like me that can help you, do that. But if you will make those three commitments, then you're going to win. You're going to win.
Monica, this has been amazing with all that you're doing with your courses and child. I'm just thrilled that you came in to talk to us about it. And how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the easiest thing to do is go to my website, which is just monicatanner.com. And from there, you can link out to my weekly podcast where I share all the secrets of happily ever after. You can see my challenges, programs, learn how to coach with me, all of those things. But I just started a book club because people ask me all the time what I'm reading, and I tell my clients, like, listen, I love to read all the books, listen to all the podcasts, go to the marriage seminars, learn all the things so you don't have to. I love to make marriage digestible and actionable, the principles the secrets really that will help you live happily ever after. And I really hope that you will help me. I'm super excited about this relationship we're forming because a book is coming. It's evident, but my own book, right, which is going to be the secrets of happily ever after. And so, yeah, you can go to my website and connect with me there and get those secrets.
I'm looking forward to being a part of your new book that's coming out. Monica, tell me, how does what you do help you live your best life now?
Oh man, it keeps me very accountable because I am not going to be that person who's out there talking about, how to have a great marriage and then failing at my own. It keeps me very, very, very accountable. And the thing is obviously I don't have a perfect marriage either. And I'm always very wary of those who go out there billing their marriage as perfect because there is no such thing. Of course, my husband and I have our own problems, our own issues. I haven't told this story publicly, but it's coming on my podcast. We just had our several months ago now, but our 20-year anniversary. And guess what? I didn't post anything about it. I didn't talk about it. We didn't actually even celebrate it because we were in a big argument on our 20-year wedding anniversary, right? That's a big deal. But I learned a lot from that. And I'm very committed to every time I learn something in my own life and in my own marriage, I want to share it with the people that I love because I'm in the trenches with you, right? I mean, we never perfect it. We never learn it all. We're just all here facing our own challenges and our own trials. And I just happen to be obsessed with, writing my own happily ever after love story. And every time I discover one of those secrets that make it a little bit easier and a little bit more possible, I love to share it with my audience.
And I'm glad that you shared it with us today. For those of you that's out there listening, if you are success driven and ready to create the sweet life, then this is how you do it. You tap into Monica by changing your mindset that lets you know that happily ever after is even possible. You change that mindset. And once you do that, you announce to the world that you are ready to have the marriage of your dreams and model it for your children and grandchildren so they can see what a healthy, loving relationship looks like. Then you get accountability from friends, family, and possibly Monica. You can reach her at her website, www.monicatanner.com. Then once you've done that, you prepare because, like she said, she gave you 3 ways to prepare. You decide that you're going to have the marriage of your dreams. You make a commitment for daily connection, and then you also make a commitment for date night weekly. That's only 3% of your time, she stated earlier. So that's a way to prepare to have your happily ever after. And then I want you to imagine what it would be like when you had a marriage that you are proud of, that you are thriving in, that you are healthy in, that your kids and your grandkids and friends and family can see with their own eyes. And then I want you to nurture that marriage, remembering that Monica told us it's the number one relationship under God, if you believe in that. But for those of you that don't, whatever it is, I don't care if you believe in a head of lettuce. Yeah, I said that. For those of you out there in the amen corner, I said it. The truth is, you get to decide what you believe and who you believe. You get to decide what kind of marriage you can have. And here's the thing, happily ever after is actually possible. And Monica, I'm looking for mine. You have any final thoughts for our audience?
You know what? I love how well you listened. That was like so fantastic. But I'm just gonna like plug one more idea here because I
Okay.
think this keeps a lot of people stuck. Is, what if, my parents divorced and their parents divorced, and I have no idea what it looks like to have a happily ever after, and it's not even like really on my radar. I
Mhm.
love Ed Milet. He's one of my favorite,
No.
just motivational speakers, and he talks about this concept of the transitional character. And
Mhm.
so for me, Brenda, one of the things that I want to heal, the dysfunction that I want to heal in my lineage is divorce. My parents divorced, my grandparents divorced. I've seen a lot of divorce, but
Yeah.
I know that I was called here for a very special purpose, and that purpose is to heal that in my lineage, to show my children that, like, it's funny, this morning at the gym, I was telling a story about this boy that my daughter really likes. And he reminds me so much of my husband in so many ways. And I'm like, of course I want my daughters to end up with somebody exactly like my husband, right? Like, I
Mhm.
love that. And
Yeah.
so that is my mission. It's to heal that in my own family. And as I make my way to do that, sharing that with others out in the world. So remember that you can be the transitional character. You can change any of that, whether it's alcoholism, addiction, divorce, anything that carries down into your family. You do have the power to say, not me. That is not going to be my story. And then you change it, you fix it for the rest of the people that come after you.
Well, you see, Monica has made a definite decision to change the world and making sure that people can have their happily ever after. If you want to hear more of Monica talking about the secrets of happily ever after, check her out on her podcast, which is named The Secrets of Happily Ever After. There's a theme going on here. She wants you to live your best life now and have a marriage that you are loving and living and thriving in, not just existing. So we thank you for listening today. And remember, the choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. So choose wisely and choose to live happily ever after. Be blessed, everyone. Thanks, Monica.